I honestly don't know if Spider-Noir would have worked like 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. I think if this show came out when everybody was still obsessed with like cameos, multiverses, universe building, all that kind of stuff, I feel like people probably wouldn't necessarily like hate it, but they wouldn't be as interested.
An element, I would have probably been one of those people because before the multiverse was introduced, I was always one. If it's not involved in the world building, I don't want to hear about it.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Because yeah, especially when like the MCU was like
When it was,
strong,
yeah,
like that's pretty much like the main reason people were going because they wanted to see where it was heading. But
yeah.
now I feel like people are more interested in other stories aside from just the world building projects.
And can I ask you this as well? Do you think that reading the Spider-Noir Hardboiled Origins trade back comic helped you enjoy it more?
I think so.
I
Um,
think so too.
yeah, I think so because I did get a sense of what I was going to be kind of walking into or expecting,
Exactly. Yeah.
which I did get that. I will say I kind of would have wished the comic would have been black and white. I feel like that would have been a little bit
Oh,
cooler.
I didn't even think about that.
Um, but I do think it helped. Now there was a difference between the comic and the show. In the show, it's Ben Reilly, and he's mainly called the Spider. Versus the comic that we read, um, it was Peter Parker that became the Spider after Ben Urich
Oh, Ben Urich, yeah.
got killed.
Yeah, and also the comic is darker. Not to say
Yes.
the show was definitely had a darker tone to it as well, but the comic was far more darker, far more political, and far more historically. I don't know if the historically accurate is the right term, but like they definitely included what was going on in that time.
Yeah, because again, it's like 1930s, so like
Yeah,
like Great Depression's going on, like World
segregation.
Wars, all the yeah, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately, I think for this show, straight out of the gate, I think I'm just gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10, just because it's not perfect, but it definitely has something that a lot of superhero projects don't have right now.
And that's fair. I gave it just a little lower. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10. And I think that's because I watched it in color. I made the mistake of watching in color. I should have watched it in black and white.
Yep. I was about to say you have to watch in black and white. It's just Spider Noir. You can't do that.
Yeah. It not only does it fit the theme, but like there was some scenes where I knew it was a background. Like there was one scene on the balcony where Silvermane and Spider-Noir were talking, and the background was clearly a picture. And that's mainly
Okay.
because I watched it in color, I'm pretty sure.
I was about to say, yeah, I couldn't really tell like the background apart because again, I watched it in black and white. But I think 7.8 is fair. And I feel like we're not too far off. I mean, IMBD gave it an 8.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, like the critics, gave it a 91% out of 100. I think audiences are a little bit lower on it. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I feel like audiences do tend to kind of go a bit lower when it comes to this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Um, but before we get into spoilers, I think the best way to describe Spider Noir for those that are wanting to watch it, but they're just don't know if they should. It's really not a Spider-Man show. It's more focused on like a detective show with some Spider-Man DNA in it. Especially like every now and then a couple episodes, but especially towards the end is when it really you get the feeling that okay, this is like a Spider-Man show.
Yeah. Definitely towards the end. And I will say the weakest part was its pacing. There was times in the middle, like I want to say episodes 3 to 5, that I was kind of bored, I'll be honest. I don't know how about you felt.
Yes, I definitely do think that that was probably its biggest weakness. It was definitely slow. It like the first episode to me was a good like pilot.
Yes.
And then the second episodes of me kind of got slower, and then it was kind of slow throughout until the later episodes. Which again, I understand it's a detective crime show, like so it's supposed to be a little bit slower because there's supposed to be more of a build up, build up, build up. But
Yeah.
there were just some points where it just wasn't as
Entertaining.
entertaining, or I wasn't
Yeah.
as invested.
I agree. I will
And
say, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, and like the story as well in itself, it's a typical like your crime mafia type story. So like nothing like crazy otherworldly. Like it was still good, but
And the detective like part itself, like the detective part of the story, they did that well. Like it wasn't like, the way some detective stories, like it's very simplistic or the characters are dumb. Well,
yeah.
this wasn't entirely simplistic and the characters were smart. Like Silvermane, the bad guy, the main bad guy played by Brendan Gleeson, which by the way, I loved him throughout the show.
What? I wouldn't have guessed that.
I loved him. But he's a very smart character. He's not like a dumb villain where you can like pull the wool over his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. I thought that was a strength, as well as the dialogue. The dialogue, the jokes, the dialogue felt like is exactly how people would talk in the 1930s. The jokes were very witty, or they talk like hey, wise guy, hey, like what's his name? Nicolas Cage was talking like that most of the time,
Yeah.
but
I was about to say that, and I think again, I feel like if you watched it in like black and white, like just the environment, the setting, like it kind of felt like I was sitting watching TV like way back when. Like that's how it felt at times. And I thought that was pretty cool because, that's I'm sure that's how my grandparents probably felt back then watching TV or whenever color happened. I don't know. I don't know history.
yeah. But no, it was very good. I thought now, what did you enjoy better, the comic or the TV show?
So I did we say the name of the comic, by the way? I forgot.
It's I don't know if we did, but it's Spider-Noir Hardboiled Origins, the trade paperback. So
So
it didn't, yeah.
that one. So I will say, um, I think I enjoyed the comic more than I did the show.
Now just a heads up, the comic includes the Spider-Man Noir issues number 1 through 4, and then it includes another Spider-Noir Eyes Without a Face issues 1 through 4, and then it includes two single issues, which is that in, they're not really about Spider-Noir, but it includes Spider-Noir. It's the Edge of the Spider-Universe number 1,
Yeah, it's
and
like
then
Spider-Verse stories essentially.
exactly. And then there was the Spider-Geddon Spider-Man Noir comic, a video game comic. So they just had that's if you read that trade paperback, that gives you a really good foundation for Spider Noir if you're interested in it.
Yeah, and we're not saying like this was like directly like adapted or whatever.
No, not at
I'm
all.
pretty sure there was some inspiration or
Like
some parts that inspired the show.
Robbie Robertson, he was a character brought directly over from the comic,
Mm-hmm.
and they did change his name in the comic. It was Peter Parker, but in the show it's Ben Reilly.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's just Marvel, Sony
licensing reasons, yeah,
duking it out. And
yeah,
that's the whole reason he's also called the Spider instead of Spider-Man.
yeah.
Just because the whole thing. But another little thing, for those that don't know, so Nicolas Cage, obviously he's Ben Reilly in the live action Spider Noir, but he also plays the Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse universe. Um, but uh they're so same he plays the same character, but they're completely different, if
What do
that
you
makes
mean?
sense. Like those are different universes. So the live action Spider Noir doesn't relate to the Spider Verse like Noir.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying now. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're completely different.
and even in the way they act, like the Spider Verse one, he's way more exaggerated. There's a little bit more comedy to it, like over the top versus the live action. It's a lot. he feels a lot more tired. He's slower. He's just yeah. He feels he honestly feels a little more grounded.
But I thought the live action had really good comedy. You know, like the witty lines that they had. Like, for example, I'll play this one right here.
What do you think?
I think you got a bingo. Say, you're kind of handsome.
Now I'm questioning your eyesight.
You know, like things like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it did definitely have some moments. But I mean with the Spider-Verse, there's always gonna be like comedic stuff just because it's I mean it's aimed at a broader audience as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Spoiler free recommendation. Like if you want a normal Spider-Man show, this might not be what you're looking for. But if you're cool with something a little bit slower, moodier, weirder, and more detective focused, I think there's a lot that you would probably like here. Especially if you're into like the noir or like crime stuff, or if you like to watch things that are like black and white visuals, shady characters, that kind of stuff. I think it's something that you would probably want to check out.
Could we get into
Uh,
spoilers now?
yep, I was just about to get there, but
Okay.
now if you haven't watched it, we're gonna start getting into spoilers. So go watch it first, and then you can come back to this video and then listen to us rant about it.
So one big problem I had with the show, the plot was good. It was good for the most part, but there's one big problem was when the mother, the doctor, was getting the cure from Ben Reilly, and
Mm-hmm.
she got the cure, cured her son, and then she wanted to run away. Instead of working with Spider-Man, she decided to run away and not. If she was more communicative with him,
Man, you
he
and
would
me
have
think
listened.
so much alike.
Like,
Because when
you
I
don't,
saw that episode, I was just like, but you could just like you have enough to heal the other people. Like I understand
yeah,
you just wanted to heal your son. But like if the whole purpose was you were doing this to like save everybody or help
yeah.
everybody, you're just gonna, oh, cool, I found the cure. Now I'm just gonna dip.
And I know, like, Ben Reilly said, oh, she's insane, but she wasn't really. Like, and also, why wasn't Ben Reilly more cooperative? If she just sat him down and said, hey, look, I found a cure. Let's work together and we can cure everyone else. But instead he's like, no, you cut me up, you cut my insides up. All I saw was a little incision by his stomach, you know, like it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I was about to, I feel like just like the real world, I feel like communication is
Yes.
key. There's definitely some moments where like they probably could have communicated with each other and like come to like a common ground and
Yeah.
work go from there. But I feel like I mean even in the real world that's a common issue. So there's always just going to be like some people wear their feelings on their on their sleeve or their heart on their sleeves. That's the saying, not the other way.
Yeah.
Um,
I can brush past it, but it did bother me a little bit. I was like, you know what I mean?
no, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Um, and like talking about like other things. I mean, I don't know if you noticed. Like obviously you could tell that there were some. You could tell that this was more like TV show budget.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you watched it in color, you probably noticed a little bit more. But like
A
there was
lot
definitely
more.
um, like I mean, this is me being like really nitpicky
I
and
know what you're gonna say.
just you know, take in consideration. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Okay, guys, don't come for me. But like, you know, there was definitely like some swinging moments or like some action sequences that like felt like that could have been a little cleaner.
Yeah.
Like it looked very if you watched our not this last part, but the Daredevil Punisher one, looked very punishery.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, like the VFX. It looked like video game-ish.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, that's just me being really nitpicky. Um,
I can
but like
understand because it's a TV
you could
budget.
see it.
You could see it. And also the backgrounds. I know I said this earlier, but the backgrounds of some scenes, it's like, did you know you could probably get by it more if you're watching in black and white because you're like, oh, I'm transported to the 1930s. This is like it feels more like it. But if you're watching in color, don't watch in color. But if you're watching in color, there are so many scenes where the background, I'm like, that's a painting, and I cannot unsee it now that I've seen it's a painting. You know? Did you notice that watching in black and white, some of the backgrounds?
Not really, honestly.
Yeah, they,
And I will say, like, I enjoyed it very much. Again, 8 out of 10. But I don't think it's a show that I would go back to rewatch in like color. You know what I mean? Like, I know some
yeah.
people would probably do both. But this isn't really like my genre. Like, I can see, like, great character work, visuals and stuff like that. But like the detective stuff, it's not something that I just come back to like rewatch. So yeah, this is kind of one and done, but I would love to see a second season of this.
I don't know if I'd like to see a second season. I do agree it's one and done. Especially with detective things. It's like once you find out the mystery, I guess. There wasn't even that much of mystery. It
There
was,
really there really wasn't. Like I said, it was very like it was kind of cut and dry.
yeah. But to give credit where it's due, the dialogue was so good. It felt so real. The jokes were legitimately funny. Like it felt like how people would actually talk in the 1930s, and it wasn't corny, you know? Not once was the dialogue. I didn't feel like the dialogue was corny once.
No, I felt like the dialogue fit
Yeah.
the era of
Yeah.
where or of what it was shot. But real question for you. And I don't know if I even know my answer yet for this. But if you take Nicolas Cage out of this show, would you still rate it what you rated it? So would you still rate it a 7.8?
Okay. I really liked him. This might be a this might
Oh,
be a hot take.
is this a hot take? You don't like Nicolas Cage?
I felt like there could have been a better actor for Spider-Noir than Nicolas
Oh,
Cage. Not that he was bad, I just felt there were so many times I'm like, this is Nicolas Cage. I didn't feel like it was Ben Reilly.
okay, okay. Any actors that come to mind?
No,
I was about to
just
say, me neither.
maybe, yeah, no, but maybe I'm just not a fan of Nicolas Cage. I don't know. It's not that I don't like him. It's just like, I
But
think there could
it
have been a
was
better.
Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, Me personally, I think, yeah, I don't think it probably would have been an 8 out of 10 for me, just because
You think it would have been
again,
lower?
it really depends on who they would have casted.
But did you like
Because
him as Ben Reilly?
I didn't mind him as Ben Reilly. I think really the MVPs of this series was a Silvermane.
Yes,
And honestly, I know some people probably hated him, but I thought freaking Megawatt was
he was.
he was annoying as fuck, but I mean he was really in it, you
He
know?
called himself a megawatt, but it was really Electro, wasn't it?
No, Christopher, it
Oh,
was
you're right. You're
yes.
right. Sorry, copyright. Yeah. And and so I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna say best character of the season for me was Silvermane. I would love him back as a villain. Unfortunately, he's dead.
Yeah, I was about to say he did.
And Brendan Gleeson killed it. I thought he was funny. He was smart. He felt like a proper um smart villain. I don't know if that makes sense. What would you call it? Like a crime lord. He felt like a proper crime lord. But
Yes.
so that was my favorite character. The what I think is the best character of the season. But what was yours, Miguel?
I would probably have to go with Silvermane or Megawatt, but I think Silvermane just he I mean, the actor just did so great in that
He's
role.
so good. Yeah.
He was so good. So I think even though he was the big bad, I feel like,
Megawatt is a really great shout as well. Electro, I'm gonna call him Electro. He's a really great shout as well. There was also Sandman, and then there was Lonnie, and I kept thinking Lonnie was Scorpion, but they never said. And then I thought, well, maybe he's Rhino. What did you think? What villain was Lonnie? Because I don't know.
I think he was Rhino, but
You think he was Rhino?
I can't, I was trying to figure it out because obviously,
Yeah,
like we know, Sandman,
because they
and
say it, and
they say it.
it's also obvious.
Yeah. And then yeah, Megawatt is Electro, but I think Lonnie, because they never really gave him anything. And obviously, I mean, he's depowered now. So he doesn't
Yeah.
have his powers anymore. I think he was Rhino.
I think he was Rhino, and the only reason the whole time I thought he was Scorpion because his face looked like Scorpion, and then when they couldn't inject him towards the end with with the serum, it broke, and then I was like, oh, like maybe like tough as a rhino hide. Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
Sure. I mean, you guys in the comments, let us know. Like, was it supposed to be like the Rhino of Marvel, or is it some other character or some other villain that we just can't think of right now?
Now that I think about it, it was probably Rhino, but the whole time I was convinced it was Scorpion. But yeah,
See, I never got Scorpion because I don't know. It just never gave me, I guess, Scorpion
that's
vibes.
fair. That's fair. Who do you think was the worst character of the season? Because
Ooh,
I feel like there were some
the
not great
worst
characters.
characters of the season. Oh, I'll be honest, man. Lonnie.
Really? I was gonna say Black Cat, or they called her Cat something.
Oh, yeah, Cat. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, I thought she would like. Are we talking like performance wise or just like as their character?
as a character, as a character.
Oh, then yeah, her.
Yeah, I just I didn't
I
like
didn't
her.
I didn't like her. She was a two-timer.
Two-timer, and then she did really go to Ben Reilly very quickly after Flint
Yeah, and then
was
all this,
left.
and then bam, freaking, she just goes to the professor or the doctor, just like, hey, I know who the spider is.
Yeah,
So if you could help me save the actual guy I love and go experiment on this other guy that I told him I was going to be going with him.
yeah,
I was just
yeah,
like, this bitch.
yeah. So we agree on that, but maybe there's some other bad characters that we're forgetting.
All right. So I feel like this is probably where people might get a little bit mad.
Okay,
Um, but I think Spider-Man might be the most trapped superhero in comics.
trapped. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by trapped, it sounds wild, but like think about it. Like I feel like every version gets dragged back to Peter Parker. You know, Miles Morales gets compared to Peter Parker. Miguel O'Hara from the Across the Spider Verse, the
Hmm.
Spider-Man 2099 gets compared to Peter Parker. Ben Reilly gets compared to Peter Parker. So I mean, pretty much everything gets compared to like Peter Parker. So like I feel like every time the Spider-Man branch tries to branch out, no pun intended, um, the conversation eventually like becomes just like, okay, like how does this measure up to the original? You know, like there's always like in people like the back of people's mind that's just like, okay, but like, is it, to the level of Spider-Man?
Yeah, but isn't that going to be a problem with like every superhero rendition they make? Like if they were to make a different, I mean, they did make a different Iron Man in the comics. It was who took over the Iron Man suit in the comics? Basically, War Machine became Iron Man, and but you're always going to compare, to the original, right? If someone else becomes Captain America, which they have, they're going to compare him to Steve Rogers.
Yeah, but technically in this world, I mean, Ben Reilly was the only Spider-Man. I'm just saying in the fact that, Spider-Man's like his whole thing is like always like funny and like colorful and like,
Yeah, this was a lot different, but he was
yeah.
funny.
He was funny. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying like definitely not to like the Peter Parker level.
I thought he was more like he had a mouth on him more. You know what I'm saying? Like he was more ballsy.
Yes.
This is what I really wanted to say. So we read the comic. In the comic, it was very political. It was very racial, because and as expected because it's the 1930s.
Yeah.
I expected the show to be just as racial, and there was a few moments of like when they said, I'm not gonna say it. They said the N word, and but like the NE, and then they mentioned like race a few times, but nowhere near as much as the comic. And the comic had a whole storyline based on race.
Yeah, and I think it ultimately comes down to I don't know what they rated this show at, but I'm sure I don't think
I don't think it was an M
no, it didn't feel
or an
like
R.
M.
Yeah, R is for video games, M is for.
R is
I
for
got it flipped.
movies.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, R is for movie. So I don't think it was an R, but So maybe I thought it would be an R. So maybe I'm a little disappointed in that sense. But the comic was definitely darker and it was definitely hit on more uncomfortable subjects, you know? So I was
And
expecting this too.
like I said, I know we touched on it earlier. I think I enjoyed the reading the comic a little bit more just
Yeah,
because I was more intrigued on the story for
in
the
the
comic
comic.
than I was for the show. Now with the characters, I do think like the live action, especially like Silvermane, Megawatt, like they definitely got
Yeah, the
they
characters were
were
way
they're
better.
definitely better. And I also do think in the comic it was tighter, so it wasn't as slow.
Very true.
Like it was still slow, but it actually built up accordingly, you know? Um
Also, in the comic, Robbie Robertson's demise or his ending in the comic was brutal, man. They did a lobotomy or like they drilled a hole in his head and he basically was a vegetable. That was his fate. Whereas his fate in the show was way happier, you know? They all had a happy ending in the show.
yeah, I was about to say, and I guess that's another like the ending, like I was just like, okay, it's the ending I kind of expected, you know.
Yeah.
It was anticlimactic a little bit.
Anticlimactic. It was, I mean, I'm happy. I
It
like
was a
happy
good ending,
endings. Yeah. I
but
like, yeah.
I don't know, but I think it could have been a little bit better. Um, but all right, last thing I'm gonna do before we start closing out. So one's got to go. All right, so superhero projects, Spider Noir, Daredevil, WandaVision, or Moon Knight
Spider-Noir, just purely because, even though as cool as Spider-Noir is, because it's not in the main
in the
universe,
main DC or DC
MCU.
MCU.
Yeah,
Oh, whoops.
or just in the main Marvel timeline at all. Like it's doesn't hold as much interest. It's a very solo story. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I didn't really think of it like that.
Well, why were you gonna pick?
I was gonna say Moon Knight. Like
Mm,
I enjoyed the first season, but it's just
oh, we're talking about TV show. Like we're talking about strictly TV shows.
yeah. Are you thinking of like character?
Yeah, I was thinking like
No,
erase the character.
like the no. So you got like one TV show. So Spider Noir, Daredevil, WandaVision, Moon Knight,
And Daredevil, is that all 5 seasons?
all 5 seasons.
Um, yeah, probably Spider-Noir.
What if I were to say Daredevil Born Again?
It did then Daredevil Born Again, yeah. Because the Netflix Daredevil was just so good.
Yeah. But anyways,
You didn't like
you
Moon Knight?
no, I liked Moon Knight, but I don't know. I feel like Moon Knight just had a lot more to offer, but it just didn't. You know,
True, true. The
I feel
character,
like
yeah.
Spider Noir delivered
It did deliver
what it needed to.
what the character is.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, so overall, Spider Noir season gets an 8 out of 10 from me, from Chris, 7.8.
7.8.
All right.
I'm still sticking with that.
Okay. Yeah. It's not perfect. The story mystery could have hit a little bit harder. It could have been the pacing could have been a little tighter.
The
Um,
comic, I highly recommend the comic though. I enjoyed it.
yeah, and we'll put it somewhere in the
We'll,
end,
we'll put a
or
picture right
we'll
here.
put it also down in the description.
Yeah,
But I do think a lot the characters did a lot of the heavy lifting, and the atmosphere and setting did a lot of the heavy lifting
100% agree.
as well. And again, if you are going to watch this, please, for the love of God, watch it in
Watch the
black
black
and
and white.
white.
Please
Because
do.
it just makes no sense to watch it in color. I don't even know
I
why you watched it in
I
color.
made I just made a huge mistake. And I don't want to rewatch it. So
But thank you guys for tuning in. Again, let us know your thoughts. Make sure to leave a like. And then if you want to keep up with what we're reading and what we're going to be talking about next week, it's going to be right here on the video. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week.